Hey everybody, welcome back to the 3D Printing Corner. This is Jason, and today we're going to be talking about the rest of the functional test on the Proto-pasta PLA, their specialty filaments. I'm going to start out with the one that I was most disappointed with. If you recall, when we printed out this particular coin, this is the Conductive PLA. It printed very difficult. It was snapping. It didn't want to, the filament itself was snapping. It didn't want to adhere to the bed, and it was all in all just kind of a pain in the butt to print. But I did test it. 10 centimeters, according to them, should have 1.8 kilo ohms of resistance. And it does. I tested it. It does actually have about that same amount. The problem is when it gets into larger shapes, the conductivity of it gets worse and worse and worse. So I actually attempted to print a stylus, which was one of the things they suggested. You can see here it's pretty basic, nothing too fancy about it. But it doesn't work. You tap on the screen and tap on the screen, and eventually it will register, but it doesn't really work like you would expect it to. Like I said, the conductivity got worse. You're not going to be using this to print any kind of, dual heads using to print a circuit board or anything like that. It's not going to work for it. And the worst part of it was when it came time to change filaments. I don't know if you can see all of this. I switched over to a white glow-in-the-dark PLA afterwards. And this is what it took before the stuff was actually running clear out of my extruder. That's a lot of clean out to try and do. And it's just for something that doesn't really work that well. I don't see that one as anything more than a gimmick. I wouldn't mess with it unless you have a very specific application for it. The next one we're going to talk about is the Coffee PLA. Now, as far as PLAs go, this stuff is awesome. It prints really nice. You recall the maker coin here. It did make my whole basement smell like stale coffee. The only real specialty thing about it is it smells like coffee. But I wanted to test to make sure it stayed printable. It's been in my house, just wrapped in a plastic bag there for, several weeks now. So I printed this benchy. This benchy is actually printed pretty low resolution, 3.2 or a 0.32 millimeter layer height. So it's really low resolution, but you can see, it printed, you can actually read the words. So in the letters on the bottom of the benchy, you can actually read the back where it says 3D benchy, which at 0.32 millimeter layer height, that's pretty impressive. And it still made my whole basement smell like coffee. But this stuff works awesome. I like it. If you can get past the coffee smell and you actually like that brown color, it works really good. Alright, next one we're going to talk about stainless steel. So this was the Stainless Steel PLA. If you recall, we printed out a coin. I did go through, and it's really hard to see, but it's much more reflective now. I sanded this particular top of this piece. You can see there's the color it was originally. There's what it looks like now. It does get a little bit shiny. You have to be careful. If you have infill, make sure your shell is thick enough that you can actually sand on it and polish it. If you look right here, you can see the holes in the middle of this. That is because I sanded too much. It's going to happen. Now, one of the other things I did do is I went through and made a couple of rings. You can kind of see this one here. I've sanded on for only like maybe 20 minutes. But you can see it's already a lot more shiny than the one here that is fresh off the printer. So this stuff, if you wanted to use it, you could probably use it for like cosplay type items, making jewelry pieces, for things like that you don't necessarily need to look perfect, but you want them to look cool. It would work great for that. So this stuff, if you actually have a specific purpose for it, it works pretty well, and you're not going to get, bright shiny stainless steel shine, but you're going to get some sparkle to it, and it looks really nice. The last one we've got to do is probably my favorite. It is the magnetic iron filled PLA. So if you recall, when we printed it out, I actually printed out this TARDIS here, and it's a nice gray color. And one of the things that's cool about it, there's a magnet. It is magnetic, so there is iron in there. What that means is it's rustable. Again, this would be really cool for some of the cosplay type items and things like that. So what I did was I took a little bit of salt water, a little bit of vinegar in there, and just left it soak for a day. At that point then, I'd made just straight salt water, soaked a paper towel completely with salt water, wrapped it up and put it in a plastic bag, and I put it out in the sun for another day. The results of that were this. You can see it's got that nice brown patina to it from all of the rust. It's rusty. It's pretty cool. You could use this for making, like I said, cosplay items. You know, pretty much anything you need to show like an aged piece of metal, this would work really awesome for. So that's kind of the end of our Proto-pasta series. You know, we've talked about them. We've talked about the ones that are supposed to be stronger. We've talked about the ones that have the special characteristics like these. And all in all, the Proto-pasta stuff is pretty good. The only one that I'm not happy with is the conductive. Aside from that, the rest of them are great. The carbon fiber was not stronger in the traditional sense. Now, something that was pointed out to me, and I will say, is if you were trying to crush the carbon fiber, it probably would be stronger than a standard PLA. The issue is when I hear that something's stronger, I think it's not going to break as easy. The problem is it does not have as much flex to it as normal PLA, so it snaps right away. Same thing with the HTPLA. It's probably going to be a little stronger if you try to crush it, but if you try to put any more, you know, weight or force on it, it's just going to snap right away, just like we saw. So you just need to know what you're using it for and what the purpose is. Those were great, and the carbon fiber actually was way lighter, so if weight was a concern, the carbon fiber is fantastic because it was like 2/3 of the weight of normal PLA, so that's great. You know, it's much less dense. So those two were great. The iron is really cool. I thought that was a lot of fun. Getting a little bit of a polish on the stainless steel version, that was really neat. And the coffee, like I said, it doesn't have really any fancy properties to it other than it smells like coffee, but it prints great and it's fun to print with. So all in all, Proto-pasta PLA, aside from that carbon fiber, they've been great. I like them. I'll probably use them some when I have the right applications for them. And, you know, I think you guys should too. So if you're liking what you're seeing, click that subscribe button down below, ring the bell so that you know whenever I put out a new video for you guys. You know, I'm putting a lot of work into this and I want you guys to be able to see it. So leave me some comments down below and let me know anything you specifically want to see. You know, if it's something that I can do for you, I'll definitely do it. I'll respond to all your comments. Any questions you've got, you know, reach out to me, let me know. And, you know, we'll definitely do that. So subscribe, ring the bell, and check back often. So this is Jason. This is the 3D Printing Corner, and we'll see you all later. Bye.